Good morning, Missouri. It's Thursday, February 1st, 2018.
Happy first day of February.
Yeah.
Right, here we are.
Angie's not too happy that we're in February.
Emily Spain she was a White Rabbit person. Emily
yes.
Spain. Every first of the month, she'd be like, White Rabbit. And I don't know what you're doing, but apparently it's a thing.
It is a thing. I remember
never heard of that.
when my kids were in preschool, but I've kind of phased it out.
You
now.
say White Rabbit. I guess
First
you win.
month.
You win.
Yeah, the first one to say White Rabbit, you don't. You just kind of.
I learned something new.
You're one up.
So you
on
won
people.
today, Meg.
Good job.
Congratulations. Yeah,
I
round
know
of
what you
applause.
I'm
won.
going to text Emily. Tell her I won.
Here's looking at temperatures out your door this morning for the first day of February. Actually, not doing too bad. Our temperatures out your door right now are closer to where we should actually be for afternoon highs. That cannot be said for later on this afternoon. We do have another cold front that's going to roll through the area. Second one compared to the one yesterday. It's going to really reinforce that cold air. So we're actually sitting at 40 degrees still from Sedalia into Columbia and Jefferson City. Once you factor in that northerly breeze, it's really starting to kick up for some of our north and western areas. So starting to get back actually into the lower 20s. Macon, Missouri, you guys are feeling like 22 degrees out your door right now. Now, most of us are going to be pretty clear and dry. We're starting to see a couple of really, really light sprinkles across parts of Pettis and Saline counties in our viewing area. But that's about it. That's really nothing that's going to greatly impact your morning commute. We are going to see those falling temperatures and breezy winds for the rest of the day. We're going to take a look at your 8-day forecast coming up in a few minutes.
A memo accusing the FBI and the Justice Department of having an anti-Trump bias will likely be released today.
The memo is part of an effort to reveal what Republicans say are surveillance abuses in the early stages of the Russian investigation. The FBI continues to say it has grave concerns about releasing the classified memo.
For his part, President Trump says he believes this memo will validate his concerns the FBI and Justice Department had conspired against him. Sources say the president believes this memo is evidence that the Russian probe is just a hoax. According to at least one member of the committee, the FBI has not raised any national security concerns with regards to the memo's release.
A new report from the New York Times says former White House Communications Director Hope Hicks promised Donald Trump Jr. emails about a meeting with a Russian lawyer would never get out. Former Trump spokesman Mark Carollo is expected to talk about the phone call between Hicks and President Trump with special counselor Robert Mueller. The meeting between the lawyer and Trump Jr. was expected to reveal damaging information about Hillary Clinton.
Here's what's happening right now. North Korean athletes are on the ground as of this hour in South Korea ahead of next week's Winter Olympics. North Korea's participation in this year's games follows the country's first formal talks with South Korea in more than 2 years. Also, earlier this morning, 28 Russian athletes had their Olympic doping bans overturned, and that's throwing the International Olympic Committee's policy on Russian doping into turmoil. Those athletes who won the appeals cases are not sure if they're even invited to compete in the South Korean Games. The 2018 Winter Games in South Korea start next Friday, and there's still a lot to be sorted.
And they're still under not a flag, right? Like they
just as
under
independent athletes.
Have to be as neutrals, yes.
The Olympic flag. Okay.
Thank you very much, Angie. During the State of the Union address, the president claimed small business confidence is at an all-time high. KOMU 8 News decided to talk to local businesses about that statement. The Columbia Chamber of Commerce president says it took some time for local businesses to recover from the recession, but now they're finally comfortable expanding and hiring more employees. He says small businesses, more than any other thing, create more jobs.
I don't even know how it happened. It's like it happened all of a sudden, we get a lot of more customers. People are shopping smaller rather than at the larger chain stores because we offer more stuff that's not at the chain stores.
Columbia's unemployment rate stands below 2%. Also in his State of the Union address, President Trump proposed a $1.5 trillion infrastructure plan that could place greater pressure on state and local governments to fund projects. The president says every federal dollar in his plan should be leveraged by private investors or state and local governments. But state transportation officials say that could put an even greater strain on state budgets. That could translate to tax increases.
Talking Hyperloop now. After being passed over last year, Missouri's back on track to compete for the Hyperloop. It's a high-speed, high-tech transport system that could travel from Kansas City to St. Louis in about 30 minutes. A statewide coalition of public and private partners announced this week it will be doing a feasibility study. That's the first step to be considered for the new transportation system. The proposed route would run along the current I-70 corridor.
The stretch of I-70 there is pretty straight, it's pretty level, and we don't know how much of the right-of-way, but a lot of the right-of-way is already owned by the state.
The feasibility study will be privately funded and is expected to take 7 to 9 months. The Virgin Hyperloop One company will announce its short list of potential sites as early as 2019.
Columbia City Council members will vote on a new solar power contract. It would last for 30 years and would cost the city $28 million. The deal is expected to increase the city's renewable energy by about 2%. Councilmember Michael Trapp says the price for solar power is cheaper than coal energy.
It's a real great time to have brokered a deal because President Trump passed a 30% tariff for imported solar panels, and so locking in a we'd never be able to get that price if we negotiated that contract after those tariffs have, now that those tariffs have been announced.
The solar facility would be set to open April 1st of next year. Today is the first day of Black History Month, and organizations on MU's campus are hosting events to celebrate. KOMU 8's Abby Dodge is live at Memorial Union with how music is being used to start conversation.
The first event kicking off tonight will highlight Black female voices throughout history. It's called She Sang Freedom. Organizers say the event reinforces the idea and ideals of Black liberation and equality. Some students I talked to say the event involving music is more approachable for some people because it's part of our daily lives. The chair of the Black Studies Department says the music will speak for itself.
I always hope that people go away thinking. I hope that they go away with a renewed sense of responsibility to themselves as lifelong learners, but also to their communities.
She Sang Freedom starts tonight at 7 here at Memorial Union. In Columbia, Abby Dodge, KOMU 8 News.
Suspended Missouri basketball player Terrence Phillips tells the KC Star the Me Too movement is the, quote, cool thing to do, and is denying allegations against him. Phillips is currently being investigated by MU's Title IX office. The Star's reporting at least 4 students have filed complaints against him. The complaints involve physical abuse and harassment.
Here's Phillips' full comment, quote, there are 2 sides to every story. Some people really want to say Me Too because apparently it's the cool thing to do. I have a side. I am cooperating with Mizzou like I was instructed. Unfortunately, I can't say a lot, but at the end of the investigation, I intend to be cleared from the accusations. People who know me know this isn't me, end quote. The university cannot comment on this matter any further.
Today, police in Michigan plan to give a public apology to one of Larry Nassar's victims. Breanne Randall Gay says she filed a police report against the former Olympic doctor back in 2004, but police did not refer her complaint to prosecutors. Police Chief David Hall, who was interim chief in 2004, says they were wrong and need to admit it. The woman says she appreciates the apology, but it's not enough.
The mayor of Nashville says she fully intends to remain as mayor after admitting to an extramarital affair with the former head of her security team. At a news conference, Megan Barry repeatedly said the affair was an unfortunate mistake between 2 consenting adults. She apologized to the people of Nashville and says there was no misuse of tax money to cover up the affair.
And with a lot of cloud cover across the area this morning, we're going to see temperatures kind of holding in the mid to upper 30s for the next several hours, but we'll see a really big drop off later on this afternoon and certainly overnight tonight as well. We're going to take a look at what the weekend has in store coming up right after the break.
That's a live look over Columbia at 5:38. We'll be right back.